Alright, so I just wanted to take you through a little exercise on from the textbook. Um, so it was this exercise that you were supposed to read from the textbook about the rabbits and ducks, right? So there are ducks and rabbits in the yard. Together they have 12 heads and 30 legs. How many of the animals are ducks and how many are rabbits? And what I wanted to talk to you about is why it's so important for us to present multiple solutions. Okay, so, and in particular what I want to point out is that one of the main reasons why we present multiple solutions to our students is not so that they can pick the easiest one and just stick to it. It's so that they can use whatever's easiest for them to help them understand the more challenging way to solve. But ultimately, we want them to understand every way to solve the problem, right? We don't want to just stick them in a you know, with a certain approach and just say, well, stick to that approach for the rest of your life. We want them to learn. We want them to grow, right? We want them to understand all of the approaches. so here's how this might work with this particular problem, right? So you might see that making a table is an easier way for you to understand than it is for you to just write down an equation. Like if you just sat down and, like, I don't think there are very many people who can just sit down and say, read that problem and then say 2x plus 4 times 12 minus x equals 30. Obviously, right? It's like, what in the world? Where did that even come from? Well, one way that you can see where this is coming from is if you use your table. That was an easier approach for you to try to see where this equation is coming from, right? So looking at this table, the idea is that together the ducks and the rabbits have 12 heads. What that tells you is that unless there's an animal running around without a head, or if there's an animal running around with multiple heads, right, which doesn't typically happen, usually there's one head per animal. So if together they have 12 heads, that means there's 12 animals in total, okay? So if you're making your table, you could say, well, let's say that I have 0 ducks. Then since there are 12 heads, that means I must have 12 rabbits, right? Or if I have 1 duck, then there must be 11 rabbits. And if I have 2 ducks, then there must be 10 rabbits. And generally, more generally, if I have X number of ducks, how many rabbits would I have? Well, I need the total to be 12, right? So if I have X number of ducks and I need the total to be 12, then I should have 12 minus X rabbits. And then you can verify that by looking at your chart. You can say, how many rabbits do I have? Well, I have 12 minus 0. If I have 1 duck, how many rabbits do I have? Well, I have 12 minus 1, right, which is 11. If I have 2 ducks, how many rabbits do I have? Well, I would have 12 minus 2 rabbits. That's 10 rabbits, right? And so on and so forth. And so you can verify using your chart that yes, that works. So let me grab a pencil. So if instead of just saying the number of ducks is a certain number, let's just say that I say that the number of ducks is X. Then the number of rabbits must be 12 minus X. And seeing it laid out in a chart like this might make it easier for you to understand where these pieces are coming from, right? Now let's talk about total number of legs. We know that the total number of legs has to be 30. But if you think about these different animals, ducks have 2 legs, right? Rabbits have 4. So these guys have 2 legs, and these ones have 4 legs. So if you're looking at the total number of legs, well, you would have to multiply the number of rabbits times 4. That would be the number of legs. And you would have to multiply the number of ducks by 2. That would be the number of duck legs, right? And then if you add those up, the number of duck legs plus the number of rabbit legs, then you get the total number of legs. And you can see that this is what we're doing, right? 12 times 4 is, well, 12 times 4 plus 0 times 2 is 48. 11 times 4 is 44. Plus 1 times 2, that's 44 plus 2, that's 46, right? And so on. So what are we doing? We're doing number of ducks times 2 plus number of rabbits times 4. That's how we get this column over here. So number of ducks. So instead of saying that I have 5 ducks or whatever, let's just say I have X ducks. So to get the number of legs, we would say number of ducks times 2 plus number of rabbits, which we said was 12 minus X, times 4. Now finally, we're told that the total number of legs is 30, right? So that means this number of legs here should equal 30. And that's where this equation comes from, right? Now you can see it. Instead of saying x times 2, they're just saying 2x. And instead of saying 12 minus x times 4, they're just saying 4 times 12 minus x. But that's this equation, right? And so having gone through the exercise of putting together the chart, it gives you some intuition, right? It gives you some instinct to help you understand the equation, right? So that's the reason why we present multiple solutions, so that not so that you can use the easy way to just stick with the easy way for the rest of your life, but